Hey everyone, this is Level Crypto back from the funny papers. This is my first crypto/blockchain video, so please take a look and let me know what you think. So, quick overview of myself. I first got into this crypto sphere at the end of the summer of 2017, so about a year and a half. First, I was only in XRP. Now I have a few different coins, although about 75% of my holdings are still in XRP. I listen fairly regularly to others in the XRP community. This includes Digital Asset Investor, Alex Cobb, CKJ News. I regularly stay up to date with Ripple the company as well. Some other good YouTubers outside the XRP community I listen to are the Modern Investor, Decentralized TV, and the Crypto Crow. It's always good to have a rounded view of the crypto community at large. So why did I get in? Someone who made a lot of money on Bitcoin gave me a heads up on XRP and suggested it could be the next big thing. After researching XRP myself, it looked like a no-brainer. One with high risk, but also high reward and low barrier for entry. I also liked that there was an entire company, Ripple, building on top of the XRP ecosystem and promoting it. This video covers the main reason I think XRP and the blockchain space in general will prevail. The main reason I see crypto and blockchain surviving is because of the current financial climate of the world. This financial climate poses a threat to everyone, and I will discuss this threat shortly. First, let's take a look at a couple examples from history and how technology solved human problems and why I think this will occur again with blockchain and cryptocurrency. Because we all know, history loves to repeat itself. Let's look at the first example from history where technology has saved the day and proven so many wrong. The alleviated fear in this example is global hunger or mass starvation. During the 70s and 80s, and really I think early 90s, there was a big fear that world food supply was going to run dry, resulting in massing famines. According to Dennis Hayes, chief organizer of Earth Day, he noted, it's already too late to avoid mass starvation. Peter Grunter, a professor at North Texas State University, stated, demographers agree almost unanimously on the following grim timetable. By 1975, widespread famine will begin in India. These will spread by 1990 to include all of India, Pakistan, China, and Near East Africa. By the year 2000, or conceivably sooner, South and Central America will exist under famine conditions. By the year 2000, 30 years from now, the entire world, with the exception of Western Europe, North America, and Australia, will be in famine. These are only a couple of different viewpoints from that time, but this was a mainstream issue in the different scientific communities and the media through the 80s. On the next table, we have the solution, GMOs, genetically modified organisms. This technological discovery played a huge role in alleviating food supplies. Now, the fear of food supply is not a crazy notion, especially in the 70s, but the point is that the technology evolved to solve our problem. GMOs were first patented in 1980. In 1982, the FDA approved the first GMO. In 1994, they were in grocery stores, and by 1999, mass adoption was occurring. Also, notice the time between the first FDA-approved GMO and that of the mass adoption, 17 years. Keep that in mind when you are getting impatient with the crypto market. I say that, but I also think that GMOs got approved before going mainstream. Crypto appears to be going mainstream before it gets approved. So when approval happens, it may get adopted much, much quicker than we think. Let's move on to the next example. This next example is something that was really a concern going all the way back to the early 1900s and through the 90s. I'm sure this is still some concern today, but the technology has continually outpaced the need. This example is oil, the black gold of our time. There was a big fear, and rightfully so, that human consumption of oil would eventually outpace the production and we would run out of this dearly needed commodity. Ecologist Kevin Watts said, by the year 2000, if present trends continue, we will be using up crude oil at such a rate that there won't be any more crude oil. You'll drive up to the pump and say, fill her up, buddy, and he'll say, I'm very sorry, there isn't any. Way back in 1990, when the technology was vastly less, you can see the same concerns. According to Van H. Manning, the director of the U.S. Bureau of Mines at the time, within the next 2 to 5 years, the oil fields of this country will reach their maximum production. From that time on, we will face an ever-increasing decline. Again, these concerns were not uncalled for, they were legitimate. If the technology never increased, then we would have run out of oil we could access. But because technology increased, we were able to access many more reserves. That was the solution to this human problem, an ever-evolving array of new oil discovery and acquisition technology. This includes things like advanced drill bits, high-temperature cement, seismic imaging, and fracking. Now, take a look at the graph and see how America is actually the #1 producer of oil as of 2018. Gas prices are currently pretty cheap in the US, partly due to this. Now, I'm not saying that technology doesn't have downsides. I am aware there are concerns with things like fracking, but I am not informed on the topic enough to say the benefits outweigh the risk. When it comes to technology, it often holds true that the benefits do actually outweigh the risk, though. When cars were invented, tremendous benefits were realized, tremendously faster transportation and commerce. The risk? Getting into an accident, potentially losing your life. People accept the risk of cars every day due to the benefits. Now, let's move on to the current problem. Also, before I start, I'll reiterate that these are not my areas of expertise. I just have eyes, a brain, and a curiosity to connect the dots. Ooh, actually, before we move on, take a look at this next slide that kind of shows, it's kind of cool graphic of the timeline with oil technology. You have drill bits, high temperature cement, 3D seismic imaging, and BP drills a horizontal well. It's a pretty cool slide. Now moving on. The current problem involves a global financial system. It is a system controlled by central banks, riddled with inflation, debt, and lack of liquidity. Many experts claim the housing crisis of 2008 could have been avoided if it wasn't for a lack of liquidity. The problem peaked its head in 2008 and got fixed with a band-aid. The problem since 2008 has only gotten worse with increasing national and global debt, and there is still a lack of liquidity. See the graph below. This shows the global debt. Notice the increase of 57 trillion from 2007 to 2014. So with a debt of 199 trillion in 2014, that means that 28.6% of all debt in 2014 was accumulated in the previous 7 years. It has only gone up, and I think is now around 247 trillion. So that's another 48 trillion over the past 9 years. Debt like this will not be paid back, and it's not sustainable. I'll give a quick shout out to Kevin Maloney and his series Secrets of Money. His video is entitled The Federal Reserve, the Biggest Scam in the History of Mankind. It's Hidden Secrets of Money, episode number 4. It's a great video to show how this mess all got started. It has 7.5 million views and is real good. I'm not going to go too into detail here because I'm not an economic expert, but Maloney explains it in a straightforward manner that anyone can understand. I'll leave the link for the video in the About area of the YouTube video. Now, let's go back and see how blockchain and cryptocurrency is our modern day GMO. So the third and final example. It has not happened yet, but I think we are seeing it develop before our eyes. The current fear is that of a global financial crisis and eventual collapse. That fiat money will be worthless and our 401ks will go to zero. Matt Phillips of the New York Times in 2018 wrote, "The next financial calamity is coming. Here's what to watch." Another journalist wrote, "The next financial crisis is right on schedule, 2019. He wrote that in 2018, so Charles Smith is saying next year. I'm not sure how qualified these people are to discuss economics, but I do know one thing. If you search for a global financial collapse, there's no shortage of articles and videos calling for one imminently. They may be justified. When you look at the growing debt, the decrease in value of the dollar, the overvaluation of the stock market, it's hard to disagree that we may face tough times soon. Not only that, but many people agree that the next crash will be worse. It will not be cured through quantitative easing. When seeing all these fear-mongering news stories, I can't help but think back to the ones about world hunger and running out of fuel. Technology solved the problem. How will this one be solved? In steps cryptocurrency and XRP. Now, there will be a handful of cryptos that will be used, I am sure. The very nature of cryptos being deflationary and not run by central banks will be a solution to the current system. However, I will focus on XRP as they are actively solving the problem of illiquidity. The company Ripple has built XRapid, which utilizes XRP for instant liquidity. XRapid will free up trillions in no-shows and vote-shows accounts. That money will be reinvested. The money the banks save using XRapid will be reinvested, and the money the consumer saves will be invested in the local economy. That type of freeing up and investment of money will have a dramatic effect on the global economy and will eventually generate the Internet of Value. If the problem is lack of liquidity and the Internet of Value allows value to flow like information, instant liquidity, then problem solved. I'll leave you with this last slide. The last slide is a quick recap. We thought we were going to starve in InStep's GMOs. We thought we were going to use all the oil in InStep's new discovery and acquisition technology. We think our economy is on the verge of collapse. InStep's XRP and crypto. I decided to put an image of some of the top cryptos, not just XRP. I personally am a big fan of XRP and have my majority of my holdings in that. But I know when it's all said and done, there will be a few being used. This is good because it breeds competition and a better product. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, or tear me a new one in the comments. This is Level Crypto signing out. See you in the funny papers.